Our next session is going to be about Project Catalyst, a model for building a better society. We're going to have Kriss Baird, General Manager at Project Catalyst, the innovation engine and decentralized funding platform powering Cardano's startup ecosystem. So everybody, please welcome Kriss Baird, and let's give a round of a big applause.
Can you all hear me now? Excellent. User malfunction on the microphones. Konnichiwa. So I want to set the scene for a second. Who feels like today that their voice is not really heard so much in helping to shape the world around them? Who feels we're moving more towards an age where we have less say in decision making? And what's really missing with how decisions that affect large communities are made in society today? Well, I think maybe you, like me, feel that people don't feel like their voice really matters. And people can't really track how decisions translate to if or how the outcomes are actually being achieved. People can't really verify if their individual voice and their individual actions and decisions have made really any difference in society today. There's a big feeling of wastage. Resources are being applied into initiatives and work streams that maybe don't have the impact and outcomes that we would expect or hope for, at the very least. These are all really huge problems to solve, but providing people agency and a meaningful contribution to how decisions are made that affect the world around them is a really worthwhile pursuit, in my belief. So Catalyst is really rewriting the rules about how large decentralized communities decide to shape the world around them, and how agency can be given to individuals and communities that empowers people to collaborate, coordinate, and allocate resources collectively. So what is Catalyst? Well, it's a trusted and reliable decision-making engine for incubating resilient ecosystems. Catalyst has been operating today for the last 5 years, and it was set up initially as an open innovation program that really allows decision-making to be pushed out into the fringes and allows anybody with great ideas from pretty much anywhere in the world to submit these ideas and allow for the very many to help to make decisions over whether those ideas go forward versus the very few. So as I said, anyone can submit proposals, but we also provide a platform for people to get involved in governance activities, such as helping to decide and evaluate whether those proposals are viable, for starters, or voting to decide whether those proposals should go forward, or on the other side, helping to verify whether or not the milestones and the deliverables that were committed to were actually achieved, and whether the impact that was promised was created. People use their cryptocurrency as token holders to cast their votes and use their holdings as voting power to influence these decision makings. As I said, we start out with the ideas. We source ideas, we allow anybody to submit proposals. Those proposals are then evaluated by thousands of people around the world, and then the community votes. Once that voting has taken place and we know which projects are going forward, those projects then create their milestones, and once milestones are delivered, as I mentioned earlier, the community then verifies that the project has set out what it achieved to. So, well, what makes Catalyst really different to a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, or any other Web3 governance application? Well, Catalyst really isn't a DAO. As I said, it's set out to be an open innovation platform that really finds and grows great ideas from grassroots starts. We provide opportunities to people to really pursue these ideas, and people are incentivized to spend their time and energy to help to maintain this healthy ecosystem by ensuring that those who receive resources are held honest and accountable and actually deliver what they promised. So in this way, we really do distribute the effort that it takes to manage a large, decentralized ecosystem of innovation at scale. So if you, out in the audience, folks, could play more of an active role in helping to decide how resources are spent towards causes you care about, would you like to play that role? Well, what have we done? We've done a lot. So in the last 5 years, Catalyst has really supported both for-profit and public good projects that have been fostering a really broad entrepreneurial environment. At the top level, over 3 million votes have been cast by a community at large, voting on over 10,000 proposals submitted to Catalyst so far. And this has translated into more than, as of today, more than 2,100 projects funded. It says 2,091, but as of this morning, we are just closing the voting on our 14th funding round. And that has seen over $175 million worth of the cryptocurrency ADA allocated to projects from more than 100 countries all over the planet. And of those 100 countries, more than $10 million worth of ADA has gone into projects originating from Japan. And it's not just that. It's the fact that nearly 90% of these projects go on to complete what they promised to and set out to achieve in the first place, all verified by community members. So this public, transparent accountability is really because people care about the outcomes, since more individuals have contributed to the decision-making as to which ideas get funded, right? It makes sense. If you can see that your decisions are making impact, you're going to care about the results more so than anyone else in other sorts of examples. Now, let me give you a really wonderful case study. Tribal Dids, a collaboration between more than 20 organisations, 6 New Zealand government ministries and 2 universities, where verifiable credentials were created for the indigenous Maori people from Hapu tribes that has given the ability to use blockchain technology to create their own sovereign identity and trust registries, allowing these tribes for the very first time to create identity systems that meet their indigenous needs and customs, allowing these people to claim back their lands, create ongoing governance, and accelerate cultural, environmental, and economic prosperity and potential. That's amazing, in my opinion. Elsewhere in the world, we see that teams are partnering with other institutions and governments to tackle problems in their own local contexts. For example, we see the Uttar Pradesh state government of India that has a population of 240 million people. They are now adopting and implementing a forensic evidence management solution to make the chain of custody of evidence more robust and remove the potential for evidence tampering and corruption. Another great social impact. This project was realized really just only and purely because of ideas that were proposed, generated, and decided upon by the people that make up the Cardano blockchain community. So, until now, Cardano has been the infrastructure backbone to all of these 2,000 plus projects. And it has provided an open and public permissionless blockchain that allows for public truths to be secure and immutable. But what about all the private truths that are necessary, right? I don't want all of my health records and data to be public and accessible and discoverable on the blockchain forever. I'm sure, like you, I'm sure that you believe there are probably a great need to keep many truths private. So I'm really pleased to announce that the Midnight Network and Project Catalyst are partnering up, and the Midnight Network plus Catalyst are going to be allocating resources to find and source and produce prototype ideas that take selective disclosure and privacy preservation on-chain and bring about new applications that seek to change the world around us. So we're really proud to announce that Midnight Network will be allocating resources into Catalyst that will fund these great ideas, and this will contribute to the over $20 million that will be available for in ADA and for Cardano-based applications as well. So how can we make decision-making more equitable, and what mistakes do we need to avoid? Well, we really need to ensure that decision-making doesn't centralize, and that voting outcomes are really representative of the many rather than the very few. Today, as we said, there's very little connection between the individuals and the decision-making in society. It's really hard to see how these decisions are aligned to individual preferences. But when people see how the dots connect, and when they've been part of the whole process from generating and evaluating the big ideas, through to voting and keeping checks on how the funds are being used, this makes people more invested and feel closer to those outcomes. And then they're able to celebrate these outcomes together. And that's really the point. It's the togetherness of this effort. We are better together. So I've just mentioned about Fund 14. We are just about to kick off the next funding round of 20 million ADA plus the contribution from the Midnight Network. And we're going to be kicking this off today, folks. So thank you very much for starters. Well done. And in just the next few weeks, we're going to be launching the next funding round on November 11th. So perhaps there are people in this audience today that I know have been funded by Catalyst, but maybe there's many more of you that have good, great ideas that you'd like to seed and see whether the community at large also believes in your ideas. And maybe just going through the process is worthwhile enough, whether or not you get funded. So I'd really like to invite everybody here to come and check out what it is that we do. There's a number of ways in which you can stay in touch with us. Feel free to scan any of the QR codes on the screen today. As I said, Fund 15 will be launching very, very soon. We also have a workshop that's taking place a little bit later on this afternoon, where you can dive in deeper and find out more about how Catalyst ticks, and we can find out a bit more about what makes for good impact investing and what funding models you're interested in seeing come realized for the future. But with that in mind, it just leaves me to say, domo arigato gozaimasu. Thank you very much. Welcome to the experiment, and things may break. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kriss. ありがとうございました。